joining me, Lieutenant General Rameshwar Yadav, retired former DG Infantry, Indian Army. We also have Sushant Sareen, strategic expert, with us. I'd like to go to the General first. General, look at it in how it's happened. You have the Vice President of America visiting India. You have our Prime Minister who's not in India right now. And you have messaging as big as this, clearly smacking of the frustration of terrorists. All of this in the backdrop of the Pakistan Army Chief Asif Muni's outburst on Kashmir just a few days ago.
You're absolutely correct. You see, it is an old pattern. It is nothing very new. Every time there is a high-profile visitor in our country. Now, this time it is Vice President of US. So they do something of this kind primarily to draw attention of the international community that Jammu and Kashmir is not stable. There is instability there and there is insurgency there. That is number one point that they have done. So they are trying to do strategic messaging across the world. That is first point. Second thing is this attack is linked to Pakistan in general and to General Asif Munir in particular, in my assessment. And I always hold that we must treat the disease and not the symptoms. What is happening, it is a symptom. And the disease lies across the LC. So we have to take care of that kind of a scenario. Now, enough is enough. I think we have to take some drastic steps so that to ensure that Pakistan is deterred from what they are trying to do as of now. Next point I would like to convey, Preeti, it is the timing and the place. The place which is one of the most attractive tourist destinations, thereby indicating it is the beginning of tourist season. The last day, if you look at it, number of tourists which had come, it indicated normalcy in the entire valley. And this year, they do not want this thing to go on, thereby conveying a message that Kashmir is not safe for tourists. That one. Second thing is month of July, Amarnath Yatra is scheduled. And if you look at what Asif Munir said,
Sir, we've lost your audio link. We're going to try and reconnect that, but I'll just complete with what the General's trying to say while we try and reconnect that. Basically, you had the Army Chief of Pakistan give credence to the two-nation theory. But Sushant Sareen, a lot of that also somewhere down the line filtered through in this terrorist attack, because if we actually listen in to those clips that are, now going viral on social media, other than the helplessness and the desperation of these tourists, you can also see that there was clear religious profiling.
But, Preeti, what's the surprise in that? The entire Kashmir insurgency movement or separatist movement has been a religiously motivated movement. It's not anything else. And all this jihadism which has been happening in Kashmir is religiously motivated, and therefore religious profiling and religious targeting is par for the course for the terrorists. So I'm not surprised in that. I think.
Are you surprised, Sushant, at the scale of the carnage? Because till now we haven't seen it in recent history. What's the desperation behind it this time?
No, I'm not entirely surprised. Preeti, honestly, when I was seeing the initial pictures which were coming in and I was hearing reports of only one or two casualties, the pictures and the reports did not kind of match up, because we could see bodies strewn all over that, that entire area. And so I did fear that the casualty numbers would be much higher, which is why this is a massacre. There's no other way of putting it. But I think what is important from an Indian point of view is that, look, if we are saying that, look, we've had fabulous tourist season, then we should have anticipated that these buggers will try and attack tourists, right? And this is not a remote area, Preeti. This is like one of the most popular destinations, Pahalgam. Should the security presence not have been more robust in an area like this, especially given the fact that you've had clear threats emanating out of Pakistan, not just the army chief, but flunkies like Najam Sethi and others who in their programs have openly been saying that we are going to ratchet up tensions and terrorism in Kashmir is going to be ramped up simply because we think that Indians are involved in Balochistan, so this will be payback for it. Now, clearly you can add two and two together. And then on top of that, you have a high-profile visit, which is again fits a certain pattern. It has happened in the past. It's happened yet again. Chitisingpura, again, more than 2 dozen people were shot dead. Again, when President Obama was coming, there was an incident, a couple of incidents. And now, again, something like this has happened. So I'm not entirely surprised that something like this has happened. But I think we should also start anticipating when these terrorists are going to strike. I know it's easier said than done.
Fair point.
It's saying
Fair
that there
point. To
is.
look in, especially if there has been an intelligence failure on our part, it's something that needs to be dealt with. But Sushant Sareen, till now, because we've seen a lot of, terrorist activity over the years, and you're right, some of it has coincided, like the general also said, with high-profile state visits, especially when it comes down to when we have dignitaries coming in from the United States of America to constantly push the theory that all's not well where the valley is concerned. But, what we had seen was somewhere down the line, yes, the Yatris were attacked, some Gujarat tourists were attacked, but largely tourists were kept out of the ambit of terrorism because the locals also didn't quite support it because tourism supports their economy as well. So therefore, to see this kind of attack where the minimum fatality, Sushant Sareen, that you and I speak of today is just 20.
No,
Do you see a shift in strategy?
I think the number is much more than 20, unfortunately. But yes, you're right. Mostly there was a lot of pressure from within that, look, you can't be attacking tourists because, that's a kind of a lifeline for a host of people in Jammu and Kashmir. But the thing is that the puppeteers of terrorists sitting in Pakistan, I don't think they give a damn about the welfare of Kashmiris. They've never cared about the Kashmiris, and they will want to fight India till the last Kashmiri is alive. So I think it's very clear from their perspective that they would have instructed their mercenaries and their terrorists to go and create an incident of mass casualty, which is exactly what has happened. So again, no surprises out there, and I'm sure this is really going to spook a whole lot of tourists, especially in the valley. Maybe the Amarnath Yatra will still go ahead with a security.
The enrollment of the Amarnath Yatra, Sushant Sareen, is on. But, with the immediacy of how, it has spooked the tourist especially, and I'll give you an example in Pahalgam. Till yesterday, not a single room, and today it's a ghost town. All we can see is a steady stream of tourists who are making their way out of Pahalgam, and I'm sure will be making their way out of Srinagar. So years of confidence building, all brought to nothing with one terrorist activity such as this.
But,
yes. Make your point.
It's also important that, people in government, yes, we've achieved a lot in the war on terror, right? We've really achieved a lot. These kind of incidents notwithstanding. But the fact of the matter is that for governments to start declaring victory prematurely, even though you know that there is a Pakistan on your border, which is always, as long as Pakistan exists, it will be inimical, notwithstanding what certain former spooks tell you. It's always going to be
a little premature to say that, weed out whatever's left of the terrorism. There's enough there. Okay, I'm going to come right back. Stay with me, Mr. Sareen. I want to cut across. And I'll go to Mir as well in just about a minute, my colleague who's joining us from there with more information. Because as we speak, viewers, there's a combing operation on. All tourists are out of Pahalgam. And right now, there are forces who are basically across Pahalgam, combing the area for the three, at least till now what we believe have been 3 terrorists who were engaged in this carnage that has taken right now 20 lives. Lieutenant General Rakesh Sharma, ex-Adjutant General and GOC Ladakh joins us. General Sharma, do you somewhere down the line, what we've been discussing is of course all of this timed with high-profile visits, but to the scale of what do we see? Do you see a shift in strategy where terrorists now attacking all out where tourism is concerned?
Thank you for inviting me. Firstly, it was a horrific attack, and our heart goes out for the people who lost their lives and the families. But having said that, the fact is that I think it was deliberately fanned by the Pakistan Army chief in his speech last week, when he said Hindus and Muslims are 2 different nations. Then he labored on it and ranted about it for quite some time. Then he spoke about Kashmir in that manner, saying Kashmir, we fight for it. He's taking attention off Balochistan and attention off KPK, and he was exhorting people in Kashmir to rise against the Hindu population and against the tourists. So I think, we take it that it is a way of the Pakistani system where when they are pushed against the wall, which they are today, they have to draw attention away from it and get across another glue to bind their nation. That glue was what action has been taken out today in Pahalgam, where so many people have lost their lives. And having said that, I think this is a deliberate, well-planned, well-motivated, well-located, good selection of target, good selection of place where the target has been selected, and also the timing of it just before the tourist season is about to take off. And we've been gloating over the tourist season becoming such a big thing. So I think it was a well-planned, well-motivated, and well-orchestrated attack across into an area where the security forces are also not so densely deployed. So let me put it that it's a planned thing, and we need to attempt to come back in a planned manner against the perpetrators of this kind of attack.
Right, and somewhere down the line, we were also caught napping. And as today, the country wants retribution, wants revenge. Viewers, before I go to Mir, take a moment to reflect on the lives that were lost today. Because if you have seen even one clip that today, unfortunately, is viraling across social media, and hear into those eyewitnesses' accounts, and I will play one of the eyewitness accounts as well now. Take a moment to reflect. It could be you, it could be any one of us, just there, taking those days off, going to the Kashmir Valley, driving up to Pahalgam, taking a little trek or sitting on the horseback. But the fact is, look at the tragedy of it all. 20 lives lost just like that, wiped out in a matter of moments. Take that moment to reflect on it, on how lives have changed forever for these 20 families.